The Xa-Thrym had been apex predators for 17 million years. Their empire stretched across 400 star systems, built on a foundation of fear and flesh. They were hunters in the truest sense. Their entire civilization evolved around the pursuit, the kill, and the consumption of sentient prey. When they discovered humanity in the year 2347, the Xa-Thrym Hunting Council celebrated for 3 planetary rotations. Finally, after millennia of hunting the same tired species across known space, they had found something new. Something delicious. The preliminary biological scans were promising. Humans had adrenaline, which supposedly made the meat tender and flavorful when hunted properly. They had relatively soft bodies, no natural armor, no venom, no psionic defenses. They were slow compared to most spacefaring species, with embarrassingly limited sensory capabilities. Perfect prey. Huntmaster Krabosh personally led the first raid on the human colony of Prosperity. His pack descended on the agricultural world like death from the void, their ships blocking out the sun. The Xa-Thrym were magnificent creatures, 4 meters tall, covered in obsidian scales, with mandibles that could crush steel and talons that had torn through every defense the galaxy offered. The attack was textbook. They disabled communications first, then power grids. They herded the humans like the cattle they kept, separating the young from the old, the strong from the weak. Krabosh personally selected a breeding male in his prime, a farmer named Daniel Okonkwo who had tried to defend his family with nothing but a harvesting tool. The huntmaster savored the fear pheromones as he lifted the human by the throat. This was the moment he lived for, when prey finally understood its place in the natural order. What Krabosh never expected was for the prey to smile. "You made a mistake," Daniel wheezed through his crushed windpipe. "You should have killed us all. Fast." The human died, but his words lingered like a curse. The Xa-Thrym took 3,000 humans from Prosperity. They filled their stasis holds with live prey, already planning the grand hunts they would host in the arena worlds. The Hunting Council expected this new species would provide sport for at least a generation before they needed to return for more stock. They were gone for exactly 42 days before humanity's Counterstrike began. Admiral Kenji Yamamoto stood on the bridge of the UNS Retribution, studying the holographic display of Xa-Thrym Prime. The planet glowed like a bloody jewel in the darkness, its crimson atmosphere swirling with toxic clouds. Intelligence had confirmed this was the heart of their empire, the sacred world where their hunting council convened. "All ships report ready," Admiral, Commander Lisa Okafor announced. "The fleet is in position." Yamamoto looked at the assembled armada reflected in the viewport. 200 warships, built in secret over decades, financed by every human colony in existence. Humanity had known about the Xa-Thrym for years before first contact. They'd studied them, learned their culture, understood their biology. And humans had prepared. "What we do today," Yamamoto said softly, "we do not for glory. We do not do for territory. We do for every human child who will never have to fear being prey again." The Xa-Thrym detected the fleet too late. Their vaunted predator instincts, honed over millions of years of hunting, had never evolved to watch for threats from below. They were always the hunters, never the hunted. Their military doctrine was built around raid and capture, not defense against organized warfare. They had no idea what was coming. The human fleet didn't announce itself. Didn't demand surrender. Didn't offer mercy. They simply opened fire with weapons the Xa-Thrym had never encountered. Railguns that hurled tungsten rods at relativistic speeds. Nuclear-pumped plasma lances that turned their orbital defense platforms into expanding clouds of vapor. Kinetic kill vehicles that struck with the force of small asteroids. And worst of all, from the Xa-Thrym perspective, biological weapons specifically engineered to target their unique pheromone-based communication system. The Xa-Thrym fought back with everything they had. Their ships were fast, their weapons deadly. They killed thousands of humans in the first hour of battle. But for every human ship that fell, 3 more pressed the attack. The humans fought with a coordinated brutality that shocked the Hunting Council. This wasn't hunting. This was extermination. Huntmaster Krabosh, now promoted to War Master by necessity, found himself trapped in the ruins of the Grand Arena as human marines swept through the complex. He clutched his plasma caster, watching his packmates fall to human weapons that seemed designed not just to kill, but to maximize suffering. A human soldier emerged from the smoke, a female, barely reaching his chest in height. Her armor was scorched, her face hidden behind a reflective helmet. "You took 3,000 from Prosperity," the human said, her voice distorted through speakers. "We found 1,700 still alive in your stasis holds. The rest you hunted for sport." Kravash's translator chip struggled with the emotion in her voice. Rage? No, something colder. Something worse. "We are apex predators," he hissed. "This is the natural order." "There is no natural order in space," the human interrupted. "There's only what we make of it. And we've decided that humanity doesn't get preyed upon anymore." She raised her weapon, a chemical propellant firearm, primitive but devastating at close range. "You wanted to know what we taste like. Now you'll learn what we fight like." The battle for Xathrim Prime lasted 6 days. When it ended, the Hunting Council was extinct. Their arena worlds were reduced to rubble. Every single stasis hold containing human prisoners had been liberated, though the survivors would carry scars. Physical and psychological for the rest of their lives. The Galactic Union watched in horror as humanity systematically dismantled an empire that had terrorized civilized space for epochs. They sent diplomatic missions, begging humanity to stop, to show mercy, to prove they were better than the Xathrim. Ambassador Rachel Stone addressed the Galactic Union from the ruins of the Grand Arena, broadcast across 1,000 worlds. "You ask us to show mercy? We did. Every single one of our people who survived, we saved. Every Xathrim who surrendered, we took prisoner. But let this be a lesson to every species watching: humanity may look soft. We may seem weak. We may appear to be easy prey. But we evolved on a death world. We climbed to the top of our food chain by being the most persistently violent, creatively destructive, and collectively vengeful species our planet ever produced. We didn't develop space travel because we're peaceful. We developed it because our planet was becoming too small for our wars." She paused, letting that sink in across the galaxy. "The Xathrim hunted us because they thought we were prey. They were wrong. We're not prey. We're not even hunters. We're survivors. And if you push survivors hard enough, if you threaten everything they love, they don't run. They don't hide. They come for you with everything they have, and they don't stop until the threat is eliminated." The broadcast ended with images of human ships departing Xathrim Prime, leaving behind a civilization that would never hunt again. In the aftermath, the galaxy gave humanity a wide berth. The Galactic Union offered membership, trade agreements, cultural exchanges, anything to keep these terrifying newcomers as allies rather than enemies. The Xathrim survivors, reduced to a mere 20,000 individuals, were relocated to a reserve world. They would rebuild, perhaps, but their days as predators were finished. The galaxy had learned what they failed to understand, that prey and predator were not fixed categories, but roles that could be reversed by those willing to pay the cost. And humanity had proven willing to pay any cost to ensure that their children would never again wake in the night, fearing creatures from the stars. Admiral Yamamoto stood before the memorial on New Earth, reading the names of the 13,000 humans who had died in the Counterstrike. Behind him, the rescued survivors of Prosperity gathered, free at last. "Was it worth it?" Commander Okafor asked quietly. Yamamoto thought of Daniel Okonkwo's final words, "You should have killed us all. Fast." "Yes," he said simply. "Because now, every species in this galaxy knows, humans protect their own. At any cost. Against any threat. Forever." The message had been received, loud and clear, written in fire across the stars: humanity was not prey.